podcast number one, Pest Control Millionaire. And today's episode, we have Brandon Peterman. I got my notes right next to me. Not that I need them, but he is owner, president, CEO of Elite Lawn Care, based out of Oklahoma City. Arguably, I would say in the top 5 lawn care companies in OKC. Probably top 1% of all lawn care companies in the country. It's on the Inc. 5000 list this year. Brandon's doing massive things, and he's a really good friend of mine. And I'd like to welcome Brandon Peterman. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you asking me to join today.
Yeah, so I think we can just kind of talk right about the gate, like how we met, and that kind of goes along with the Pest Control Millionaire theme. And we met through Jonathan Potoshnik's Academy group, which was a lawn care millionaire. We're both, would say, some of his proteges, and we got a long ways to go to catch him, but we're working on it together. And so that's where we got the podcast name. And in fact, his son Riley Potoshnik is the one who built our website for Pest Control Millionaire. So it all kind of just comes together, and that's kind of how we met. Take us through real quick, like your journey of like how you got in the industry, what you were doing when you first started, and then how you pivoted and went a different direction, and just kind of just tell us your story. It's a neat one. So
I kind of feel like it's a little bit typical from everyone. I started just mowing lawns when I was a kid. And once I graduated high school, I kind of worked a couple of jobs, still mowed on the side, trying to figure it out. And then I realized that I really wanted to kind of own my own business. So I did the whole mowing thing all the way through my 20s. And then somewhere in my 20s, I picked up the weed control and fertilization side of things, and realized that I liked that a lot better. It was better profit margins. It was easier because it's year-round work. We're in Oklahoma, so we could do year-round work, keep all of our employees on payroll. And so we picked that up, and then I realized that that was just a better fit for our company. So we ended up getting rid of the mowing probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
What year was that, roughly? Do you remember?
So it's 2022 right now. So it's probably 2017, 2016, something like that. We got rid of the mowing, and then just started doing the weed control and fertilization since then.
And then how did you get into the whole spraying side of things and fertilizing side of things? Like, what made you want to go that direction?
So honestly, I had a friend that was doing weed control and fertilization. And so my mowing customers would say, hey, we want, do you know of anyone? And after about the 100th customer that I gave them, I was like, well, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Just start doing it myself. And so that's really how we just got into it. And I just kind of got, 60 customers my first year, figured it out, and kept moving on.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the story with all of us, right? For the majority, we all started mowing, and then slowly, strategically got out of mowing. Not everyone, because mowing can be a great industry too. We have both of us have really friends that are super successful in the mowing, just not something that was great in our market, and you just kind of want to get out of it. Lots of overhead and things like that. You're also known in our industry as like the blue dye guy. Like everyone seems to come to Brandon Peterman's shop from around the country to go check out what's going on down there. Tell me like how that got started, and what you do with your blue dye.
So in Oklahoma, it's not abnormal to use blue dye. Across the United States, it's kind of weird to some people. But here we have Bermuda grass, and it goes dormant. And so it's kind of a yellowish color. So when you put down your pre-emergent, which is kind of through the winter time, fall, winter, and super early spring, you use a dye on it, just a tracker dye to help understand where you've been and to make sure that you get your pre-emergent down really good. So we've used it since I started in the very beginning. And then we've grown our company, and people outside of Oklahoma has never seen it. So they come in and look at it all the time. But yeah, all of our yards, pre-emergent. We do it 3 times throughout the winter. And yeah, we use dye and cover the yard to make sure we don't miss anything.
Right. So like on the lawn and ornamental side, for the guys that are not in your market, like up northern markets like this that don't use the blue dyes, basically just to make the lawns blue so you can just see where you went and where you're headed, right?
Yeah, and
Training
the other thing
guys.
is, well, yeah, up north and northeast in America, the dye just doesn't stick the same way it does down here. So it's not as prevalent. Some guys that try it and it's not as prevalent. But when, Oklahoma, Texas, it sticks really good and it really helps you understand where you've been.
For sure. And like I said, we tried doing it and you couldn't even tell the difference. Kentucky bluegrass up here spraying blue, it's like it made no difference.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of take it back because I know like we skipped over a lot of stuff through like your journey. Like along the way, like 2016, 17, when you started doing, getting more into fertilization weed control side, you sold off your mowing. Is there someone that you met? Is there a person in your life that you connected with that really helped influence your business? And tell me a little about that.
Well, around that same time, that's kind of when me and you started kind of meeting. I went to the Service Autopilot conference and they had an academy group and jumped into it and started meeting all kinds of people from all over the world that you could actually talk to. The hardest part about owning a business or, even just mowing, even just a small guy, mowing, there's unless you reach outside of your area, your service area, you can't really talk to anyone in your service area and really understand anything. So, we started using Service Autopilot as a CRM. And went down to their conference. And it was about the same time that we got out of the mowing side of everything. And they were doing the academy deal. And we jumped in it. And that's how I started meeting all my academy buddies, including you and a lot of our mutual friends. And it got to where we all talked together. We all discussed finances. We all discussed everything. And just the growth of the company kind of took off from there. We have Jonathan as our mentor. That kind of started the whole group, and man, his knowledge is vast. So it really, really helped me out tremendously. I wouldn't be here without the academy group. Plain and simple, without friends like you and everyone else I can call on. Every day and say, hey, I've got this problem.
I agree. So for all like like you said, the one guys in a truck that are just maybe jumping on to listen to this, and we're gonna drop some good nuggets throughout this, but. Let's be honest, like when you're that small, it's almost hard to fork out money for a mentor like that caliber, right? What do you say? What do you say to those guys who are like, man, that's just a lot of money. Like, I don't know if I can afford it. Maybe it's $200, $300, $400, $1,000 a month. Like, what do you say to those guys who are just trying to figure it out and like need help and not really wanting to pay to learn?
Pack a lunch every day. I don't know. Like quit eating out every day. It's if you break it all down, it's like $2 a day, $3 a day. Don't eat that McDonald's cheeseburger. Make you a sandwich. It depends on where you want to be in life. And that's kind of what I tell everyone is just, forfeit the perks while you're small and then gain those bigger perks when you grow. Like, you've got to have education, you got to know what you're doing. You got to make that money. Like this is a college, joining a group is basically college. Like, and it's college for a business owner. Yeah. Like join a group. I don't care what group it is. Join a group.
Yeah. So you're saying to those young guys, if they can't afford the money, save whatever they can outside. Like I said, pack a lunch, do whatever you got to do to save money to pay for that mentor. Like, it sounds like it's expensive, but like, how much do you think that has helped when even the first month that you joined the academy? Like, how influential was that first month and the first call? Like, how much money did you think that one training taught you?
I'm going to say that, like, we had 2 trucks when I joined. It was very tough for me to pay it. I think it was $500, $600, $700, whatever it was, and it was very, very, very difficult for the first probably year. But after the first call and the second call and the third call and like understanding what I'm getting into and meeting friends and just laying it all out, man, it paid tenfold for itself. after a year, we were double the size, like because we knew what we were doing. So it really, that cost meant nothing.
I think, I don't know.
I would highly recommend anyone to do that.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I think looking back, it goes like maybe, like I said, like 5 years ago. I remember what my first session was that I joined. Do you remember what your first session was?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's the same session. I'm not sure how they have that broken down, or if you just jumped onto a live call. Yeah. But yeah,
I know just, and if we're going to talk about that group in specific, it was all about Google. Like I didn't know anything about Google then.
Google My Business.
I had no clue. I didn't have a Google. I didn't have a website. I was just winging it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understood everything about Google and how to start My Business and how to be relevant. What that even means, like how to show up on the map.
Yeah, like bring your business up to 2018. Like we were just stuck back in the old school ways.
Yeah.
A
year prior to that, I was using an Excel spreadsheet to figure out where I was going. I didn't even have like a CRM. So yeah, it was vastly quick for me.
That's funny. So you brought up CRM twice now, and we haven't really touched on it. So you joined Service Autopilot, which is a CRM for fertilization, weed control, mowing, pest control. Some house cleaning companies are all on the software for scheduling, taking credit cards. So we haven't touched on that. There's probably gonna be a lot of people listening that are still using paper, using Excel, or maybe they're just using like a free software that can just kind of get you into the industry, when you're first starting out.
Right.
But how much of a pivotal point was getting that CRM in place?
I mean, it took a while to get it up and running, doing correctly. But once we got it, where we wanted it, it's so funny because, there's people out there now that like I just talk to on a regular basis, or, Joe Schmo, like just mowing a yard or whatever. And I'm like, do you have a CRM? Do you have this? Do you have that? I'm like, no, what's that? What's that? I was like, dude, here's like step one, get a CRM.
Yeah.
Like if I was to start a business all over again, step one, CRM.
Yeah. And it's, when you're small like that, it's pretty inexpensive. Maybe like one user's maybe like $79 or $100. Like don't quote me, but it's something like that. And
super cheap.
And I remember that's how I found out about Service Autopilot. Was like, I was just so fed up with what I was doing. Like it was all on paper, trying to do it in Excel spreadsheets, and then taking that data from QuickBooks and trying to enter in QuickBooks. I'm like, this is just terrible. Like there's got to be something. And lo and behold, I searched on the internet, laying in bed late one night. I'm like, there's a Service Autopilot thing. I'm like, let's check this out. Just for lawn care people just like you. Jumped on there, and they had some of the biggest badass videos on there. Some of our. I was like, man, I want to be those guys someday. Like I can't wait to I want to be just like them. And now they're like some of our best friends. So it's just,
it's like, oh, this is my story.
Yeah. So like we all just kind of have the same story, and like I said, I found that online, and I was like, oh, let's just give this a shot. And I signed up for a Service Autopilot that day, and it's like I think I stayed up to like 3, 4, 5 a.m. like getting all my customers in, which obviously wasn't a whole lot. Maybe like I said, like 100 or a couple hundred or something like that at the time. And I stayed up, was cranking it out. And then the next thing you know, like the next night I'm laying in bed, and I'm still going through their website, watching all the videos. And then like Jonathan has that video on there telling you like, hey, come join our academy group. And I was saying, I'm like, man, I don't think I can afford $700 a month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what do you think? Like, and I was like, well, it's month to month. So if it doesn't work out, I'll just bail,
Yeah.
And then first month, they send you all the stuff, but we don't have a live call yet. So you're just watching this recording. I watched that recording, and my mind just exploded with like, just that one small thing could change your business. And then we first had our first live call with Jonathan. It was like, yeah, this is exactly where I need to be. And again, just like yourself, like I would not be anywhere near I am now today without having Jonathan as a mentor,
If he wouldn't have started that group, I mean, me and you wouldn't know each other right now. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be where we're at and growing at the rate we're growing. I wouldn't have. I probably still wouldn't have a Google My Business.
Same here.
I'd be like, trying to figure it out. But no, Yeah, it's been definitely been a life changer, that academy group.
Because how many times do you talk to people that are in industry and the positions that we're in, where they're stuck at that 250,000 or $500,000?
All the time.
Yeah, and they're just struggling to
All the time.
scale. They can't figure it out, and it's just and it's so simple to us because we've been through it. But just saying like here, these are your steps. Like start here. So step one is CRM, right? Google My Business maybe is in there too.
yeah.
Website's probably in there too.
Yeah.
And then once you get that, get your marketing.
Try to get some
going.
social media together to get some marketing.
Yep. And then from there, probably try to
start hiring and recruiting. Start finding trucks. I mean, yeah, I could lay out 200 things and say just go down the list, but
and then somewhere along that line, find a mentor or find someone that's either in your industry doing big things, or find someone that's been in the industry a long time that just got out to see if they'll just kind of help you through it,
Or find a group. There's hundreds of groups all around.
All kinds of groups.
There's tons and tons of groups. There's not just the academy.
Yeah, for sure. So you kind of touched on marketing too. We hear a lot of people talking about marketing the last few years and SEO and Google ads and Facebook ads. What are you seeing the trend down in Oklahoma City with as far as marketing costs for Google, Facebook, all that? What have you guys been seeing down there?
Honestly, it's getting pretty darn expensive. We're trying to do it in such a way to keep the cost correct. We have a budget for marketing that we try to stick by. But yeah, it's I think this past year, 2 years, the cost of everything has just gone way out the roof. So it's just being strategic about it.
Yeah, I think that everyone that I talked to in the industry, same thing. Like 2 years ago, last year it was double, and now this year what we were paying last year is double. And I don't know if we're at the top of that market yet. It's Google, so I'm not sure what they're going to do, but we have to be somewhere near the top. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like at some point it's not going to be scalable and people will start moving away from it if they keep going that direction. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, we're looking into every possible way of marketing and deciding which one we want to use and not use, depending on the price and the cost per acquisition.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle right now of making a list of 150 ways to market, and just going down every single one and deciding which one we want to do and not do. As we speak today, my team's in there doing that this week.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We talked the other day, like man, I wonder if the old school way of marketing would work again. We talked about that 2 days ago, and no one else is doing it. Maybe it's open to do it.
Yeah.
So just
there's 200. Just figure out which way works for you or is working at that time.
Yeah, because I feel like even when Jonathan had just got into with City Turf, he had just met the market at the perfect time, and he'll tell you it was the internet was just starting to take off. He just figured out Google Ads, and he just hit a home run. I think the days of building a company that fast, that big, are kind of over. I really do, unless you're back with millions and millions of dollars, possibly.
Right.
But he scaled super fast because if you look at the people that came into around that time when there were some heavy hitters that came out of that. They all got online super fast, and they were very innovative at that time, and they just took off like a rocket. I think so, and I could be wrong again, but I just think that time has passed on the internet as well to scale that fast.
Yeah, I agree. You still gotta play the internet game though.
Absolutely.
You still gotta play the SEO game. You still gotta play the review game. You still have to do your part in it. But to say you're going to scale as fast as he did, no.
Yeah,
it's not that way anymore. I think because he was almost pre-social media.
Yeah.
So Google's what you had. That's what you looked for. Now social media is kind of where everyone's looking, and it's just getting there's just too much on it now. Yeah, you can't narrow your search like Google.
Yeah, and I think they're everyone went online, so we're all competing for those same leads, and it's just driving the price up. You brought up a really good topic though, with as far as getting reviews. How important has your reviews been to your business? And what would you tell someone that's just, just started to Google my business, just get on the internet and looking for reviews? Like, how important is that?
Very important. My opinion, you should be at the top of your game on reviews.
Yeah.
Look in your industry, figure out who has the most reviews and get more than them. And I don't care what that means. I don't care if that means pick up the phone and call every customer. I don't care if that means have all of your asking every day. I don't care. Like, get one a day, get one a week, whatever. Just keep them coming. Like, you have to be at the top of your industry for reviews. Like, Google really pays attention to that.
Yeah. And, Facebook too. And then it's like, like you said, how do you get those reviews? You said, call a customer, talk to them on the door when you're doing the service.
Yeah. You can't get a review if you don't ask.
Yep.
Like, plain and simple. Or you just get bad reviews.
Yeah.
Like, the only reviews you'll get is bad reviews unless you ask for a good review.
And I think it's super important to talk about, since we have talk about reviews. Like, if someone does leave a review, make sure to respond to every single one of them, whether they're good or bad, right? Even though, because you're going to get bad reviews. None of us are perfect. And we try really hard to be a good company. But again, at the end of the day, we're not going to please everyone, know that. So we're going to get those bad reviews. I'm not necessarily sure that that's a bad thing. I think that'll bring up maybe some valid points that the customer might have. And say, well, okay, this is something that we can fix, in our business.
Well, and I mean, like, if I go to a company and I'm trying to search, I don't know, a restaurant or whatever it is, a shoe store, and it's just all 5-star reviews, then something's off. Like, I want to read like some of the bad things and then decide if that works for me or not.
Yeah.
A house cleaning company or whatever, a mowing company, whatever I'm trying to hire, a plumber, like they're gonna have bad days. Like, everyone has a bad day, but my thing is, like, how do you react to that? Like, if the customer gets on there and says the plumber was horrible and whatever, like, okay, well, how does the company react to that? Did they come back and go off on you and say, no, you're incorrect as a customer? Because I don't want a company to do that to me. Like, if they come back and they say, hey, we're going to make this right. We were trying to get a hold of you. We apologize, whatever. Like, then they're probably really a good company, and something bad just happened.
Absolutely. And when you see a company that has 10-star reviews, that's all they have. They're all 10 5-star reviews. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you see that?
The family and friends just put them up there just to get something.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't have 200, 300, 400 reviews, like, they're not trying. Something's off. If they only have a few reviews, it's employees, it's the owner, it's the owner's friends, or whatever. So grab reviews, grab tons of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And don't just grab 20 and stop, and then stay stagnant for 2 years. Like, keep getting them every single week. Get a review.
Yeah. And we're talking about a lot of like some higher level stuff too. But like, let's just go back to like when we were small, like real small companies. What would, like, it's not easy, right? And it's one of the best parts about the mentorship program, or having a friend in the industry like yourself, and someone that kind of hold you accountability. But it's hard, right? Like, we all go through, really high highs and super low lows. How did you handle that? And what would you tell someone kind of going through that right now?
Keep your head in the game, stick in there. Like, I don't know. It's all in what you make out of it. Plain and simple. Like, if someone was, running a small company, just keep driving it, or fix the problems, be more efficient. Like, there's always a way, but you just got to figure out what that is. What's the bottleneck? What's the root of the problem?
Yeah.
Why are you having a super low? Like, let's figure this out, because there's always a way to fix it.
Yeah.
Even a super high, like, that's totally fine, but tomorrow's not going to be that way. Like, let's figure it out, because you got to keep working on the business.
Yeah. Because like, so we've all been through those where just the next day you're just, like I said, at cloud 9, the next day it's super hard. And then, like, I'm going to make it one day. And the next day you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. We're just starting out. Like, you're basically saying, just keep your head down, keep working hard, and don't quit. Because a lot of people will, right?
Well, and decide what you want to do with your life. Like, if this is what you want to do, this is your career, then buckle down. Like, get a mentor, have a friend, talk to a friend, hire a counselor. I don't care. Like, just figure it out. Like, if that's what you want to do, then go for it. Like, don't quit. But if that's not what you want to do, then obviously go quit and go get a job. Like,
Yeah. So start.
Well, only on this earth for so long. What makes you happy?
Yeah.
If that's what makes you happy, then go for it.
Yeah. So basically start with the end in mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to have a small company that just a lifestyle company that puts out a lot of cash, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
No,
absolutely nothing wrong. But you have to decide
what the end goal is.
Yeah. And then if you want to have a massive company and take over the world like we're trying, you have to be okay with that. So that brings me to the next thing. Like, do you think it's harder to run a smaller business, or do you think it's harder to run a bigger business?
Personally, after kind of being on both sides, I think it's harder to run a smaller business. You have too many hats on. But it can be tough to run a bigger business if you don't have the proper managers in place.
Yeah.
You don't have they don't understand your vision. They don't understand your goal, and they're not. If they don't understand what you're trying to accomplish, then it makes it really tough. So then you got to lay out your vision and let them know exactly and then make sure that they're fine with that vision too. Just because that's my vision doesn't mean that my operations manager wants to deal with that either.
Yeah.
So, and if it's not, then I need to find a different operations manager that shares the same vision.
Yeah.
And that's all it's about, is making sure your team shares the same vision.
Yeah, because when you're smaller, like the culture is basically yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got
and the two guys
you have, you're probably friends, and you guys hang out afterwards. But then as you grow and you get a little older, the company gets bigger, and you're dealing with a management team, CFOs and COOs and agronomists, things like that. You have to align all that culture under one roof and, have the vision for everyone. And I know you guys do EOS, and you kind of like go through that. You have your meetings and you go through like your monthlies, your weeklies, your KPIs and things like that. Tell us a little bit about Traction, or not Traction, but EOS. The book is Traction. If you guys want to read a good book, Traction's an awesome one. We're
just now starting. We've been looking into it for a couple of years now. We just decided that it's a right fit for us. So one of our focus days is coming up next week. We're gonna go spend an entire day with our management team and with a implementer and kind of go over it. So we're not too far into it just yet, enough to where I can speak of how everything's going. But we're super excited about it. It's going to align us. Like, we have our weekly meetings, which is very normal, but in the end, EOS is just going to pull it all together for us.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to your shop multiple times, and the culture there is really, really good. Everyone enjoys being there. Everyone's super friendly. You got a killer team. That's why everyone comes to see you. One of the biggest things that I loved about it there, that's one thing that you do in the morning, and like you guys do it every single day at the same time, the same way. You already know what I'm going to say. And that's your daily huddle. Like, I know it came from a book that we have read in the past, and you implemented it right away. And it's something you guys have done for a couple of years. Like, let's touch on that because it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, every single morning, start times at 7 a.m. Guys get here 6:30. So they go make their breakfast, which is something else I want to touch on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they go make their breakfast and do all their stuff, and then 7 a.m. it's clock in time. We have a huddle out front. It's the entire company. We all stand around, talk about what's going on with the company. Just kind of a quick headline of what's going on. And we do allow anybody and everybody to speak. It's usually about 15 minutes long. Sometimes we'll go a little bit over, but we do it every single day. Everyone knows. Sometimes we'll do some stretches in there. Something just kind of get us warmed up. Sometimes it's music playing. Sometimes it's, managers kind of going over a few things. Sometimes it's, spray techs wanting to just, speak their mind, like just, good, bad, the ugly, the huddle's just, it's all about culture, and it's all about everyone there. And we enjoy it. It's something just, it's an open communication, open way to talk for everyone.
Yeah. And then I noticed, I think they come in like before they have to clock in and everything. Like, you don't make them do that. It's just something that they choose to do. And it's super impressive that most of your guys are, if not all your guys, are super bought in. again, you mentioned the breakfast thing, and we've talked about this like in our academy or past academy group. Most of us did that, but since you brought it up, let's talk about it. Like, what did you guys do to help with the culture and make sure every guys are happy? I've been there, I've seen it, super impressive. So tell us about that too.
We have an entire kitchen in this building, an entire pantry. It's got 3 microwaves. It's got air fryers. It's got 2 refrigerator and freezers. Stocked completely full of food. Our operations manager goes once a month to Sam's. It's our big bargain store here, and just loads up with carts and carts of food. There's breakfast, there's lunch, whatever the guys request. I mean, we'll do pizzas, we'll do hot pockets, we'll do just snacks you can throw in the truck. There's sausage biscuits, there's orange juice, there's everything. So we bring in pallets of Gatorade, pallets of water. We have ice machine. So, our thing is like, get them well fed. Like every single small company, what do? They clock in, then they load their mowers or whatever on the trailer. And then where do they go? They go to the gas station for 30 minutes and they fill up with gas, and then they hang out and they get food. So we're just trying to, one, eliminate all the gas station stops. And number 2, it's just a lot cheaper for us to go buy everything in bulk and just provide it with them. They enjoy it more. They're going to spend $7 at a gas station when they can come here and warm stuff up for all of $1.50.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just go ahead and pay the $1.50 for them and then be happy? And they're allowed to take snacks with them. There's chips. There's everything back there. They take all their daily food. It's funny because sometimes they won't even eat lunch, and then they'll come back and warm up a pizza.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But we don't care. I mean, it's all your food. Just here's how much you get. Here's the allotted amount. Here's the budget. Don't eat it all up until it's time to go again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that you guys
don't waste it.
You have basically like a list that they can write on. Like if they want to request something, like you'll go get that too. Yeah, that's really cool.
It has to be at this specific store because it's a bargain store.
Yeah, and if you
it has to be at Sam's,
and if we get to go into your office, we get to eat your wife's cashews. So that's working too.
Yeah, you do that. They're not in here.
I ate them all.
I think they ate them all.
Yeah. That's funny. So we brought up, the wife with Callie and the kids, and that's hard. That's a hard, I talk about that a lot too. It's like hard to balance the life with the family and life with the girl in the company. And I don't know if there's ever going to be a perfect balance, right? Like people talk about work-life balance. I could be wrong. I just don't know that there is one. At this stage, it's tough. And we look at our mentors and. Some of them sold their companies and they're off traveling for the first time since they've started. Let's chat about that too, because a lot of people struggle there. Which be honest, I've struggled there. You struggled there. It's not easy.
I've had to start time blocking really bad. All the meetings, everything that I do throughout the week. I just know that I need to be home. Try to be home at a certain time for dinner and then kids' sports and everything. So. I kind of focus my day around that. And then I'm trying my hardest lately. I've been trying to take Fridays off or half a day, one Friday off, to spend time actually with my wife. Yeah. We don't get to see each other, like she's off at one sport with one kid. I'm off at another sport with another kid. We just don't see each other. So, and we started another business too. So we're trying to use Fridays for that other business and time to spend with each other. It's not really working that well yet, but we're trying.
Yeah, you're at a successful company and you've taken money from that company that out of the profits that you have, and you put them into another company to buy some real estate stuff. It's been going really cool. It's awesome to see you from 5 years ago where we were to where we've come. It's really impressive to watch from the outside, and I'm sure everyone that knows you and knows us knows the group. Even in the lawn care industry, like everyone just kind of knows who you are. Like I said last, I was in Boston for Pest World. It was like 2 weeks ago, and I met a guy in Boston. He said he's from Oklahoma City. I brought up Brandon Peterman. He's like, I've heard that name. Why do I know that name? Yeah, he owns Elite Lawn Care. It's like, oh God, they're everywhere. So like you're getting recognition from across the country. It's super awesome to see. So congratulations. And I know it's kind of getting to that time, but I have one question that want to ask you before we get off here.
Okay.
What piece of advice would you give a young entrepreneur just starting out? And not even, it doesn't have to be lawn care, but since we talk about lawn care, pest control, and we're talking to those young bucks coming up. We've all been there. Like, what's that one thing that, and I'll chime in too, but what's that one thing that you would tell them?
I think and I'm going to say the one thing that I always tell all of our employees out there is you're only on this earth for so long. Do what you love. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, don't value your life after a dollar amount.
Yeah.
Value it after doing something you love.
Yeah.
Like, even our spray techs out there, they're like, they're still going to school. And I'm like, cool. When are you going to finish that? Is that something you're interested in? Like come work for 2 years or a year or whatever, and then go on to the thing you love. Like, I'm totally fine with that. You're more than welcome to use us for that. But just anyone starting out anything, just make sure that you're happy with what you do. Like, with me, I never wanted to push a mower. Like, I'll be like, it doesn't sound fun. Like, pushing a mower. It's just what happened. And I never wanted to spray a yard. Like, that's how it worked out. Half of these technicians, they don't really want to spray a yard, but when they come here and they fit in and they enjoy everyone they work with, the culture, the team, the camaraderie. Some of the guys, they're like, yeah, I don't really like spraying a yard, but I know what I'm doing and I enjoy it here. I'm staying. Yeah. Cool. But do what you love. Be happy to go to work every day.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one of my things is like, and I agree with you. You have to do what you love, and it's weird that we love this industry. It's a really cool niche to be in. Once you get in it, it's actually a really small world, right? Like, everyone kind of knows everyone, and it's really cool. And like we bet you and I and our friends have been networking for the past 6, 7, 8 years. We really got to learn and know a lot of people. And one of the things that I was told was, when I was from Jonathan, actually, the first thing he ever told me was to think bigger. And every time that I've been thinking bigger, there's always a next level of thinking bigger. And where I come from, right? I come from a town of 14,000 people. Like, when you get big here, it's obviously not that hard. Let's be real. Yeah. Right. But then you go outside of this area and you travel around, you're like, man, the world's a big world. And just like I said, think bigger, and there's so much money out there. There's so much opportunities. Like, just go for it. And
so easy to multiply. Like, now that you know what you know, it's so easy to just multiply. Like, just keep creating and creating and creating.
For sure. And
like, where does it end? I don't know, because it's just doing it. It's like, it kind of does it itself.
Yeah. And like,
once you get to a certain level.
Yeah. And we came through like the school of hard knocks, right? Both of us didn't go through the traditional route, right? We were like, heck no, we're not going to do that. We don't want to deal with that. And we kind of got in this position, and it's like, the knowledge that we learned here for myself is 10x the knowledge that I ever learned through any traditional school.
Oh yeah.
And no one can take away. They could take away the trucks. They could take away the checking account. They could take it all away. But what I know in my head, I could literally, which arguably I did twice now, I could literally do it over again. And that's one thing that they can never take from me. So that where we came up from to where we are today is just, it's so valuable. And we're going through some hard struggles, but you have to enjoy that journey, because that journey is what taught us to how we got where we are today, right?
Yeah. I totally agree. And we have so much knowledge in our brain. Like you said, take everything away, and I'll still be successful tomorrow. Yeah. Like, I'll figure it out.
Sweet.
Not a problem. But don't get me on the college and those traditional schools and what they teach and don't teach, because man, I could have just skipped school to started this and been fine.
I feel like we know some people that did that.
Get me through math. Get me through the basics. I don't really even have to learn how to write a letter anymore.
Teach me square.
Google does it for me.
Teach me square footage and area. Acreage, and we're good. Yeah. Any last words for the people listening? Like I said, I appreciate you being on here, and I know you're a busy guy, and I thank you for taking the time with us.
I would say if you're new, or if you're a starting entrepreneur, never stop reading. Never stop listening to podcasts. Never stop educating your brain. As soon as you do that, you go stagnant.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep reading. You've got to keep up on everything. Every time you read a book, there's always 6 nuggets in there. Just take those 6 nuggets.
Yeah.
The whole book might not mean a lot, but take those 6 nuggets, implement them, and move to the next book.
And you know that I'm going to agree with you. I'm the kid who never checked out a library book from the time I was in kindergarten to the time I graduated. And now I can't put the books down, right? Now, you know me, like I read like crazy, and usually it's a book a week, 52 books a year. And I love learning now, but I found something I'm super passionate about, like not just lawn care, but business in general,
Right.
But yeah, so
right. It makes sense. It depends on the book, but yeah, make sure it's something that you're learning, something that you can implement.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you being on here, and thanks for taking the time. I said you're a busy dude, so.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Pest Control Millionaire. If you are not already subscribed, we would really like if you did that. And please leave us a glowing review on iTunes. For the first 8 weeks that we have this show launched, we are going to give away a $50 Amazon gift card every week to a random person who gives us a nice review on iTunes. That's how important it is to us. Also, we want you to be involved with the show. Please send any questions you have about entrepreneurship, how to grow your business, anything about the service industry to info@pestcontrolmillionaire.com. We will answer them on the show. We have the best guests in the service industry, so why not get their take on your problems? Thanks for listening again, and we'll see you in the next one.